Chapter 3, Season 1. We're on to a new chapter again. This one is the shortest completed chapter, and we're starting like we're starting a run of like very mediocre seasons in my opinion. In my opinion, like okay, Chapter 3, Season 2 might get a pass here, but I think every other season is like very mediocre in this chapter. So Chapter 3, Season 1 gave us a brand new map. Unfortunately, this map was not as unique as the Chapter 2 map felt. The Chapter 3 map, I think, was super boring, super not memorable, right? Like, nobody really remembers anything from the Chapter 3 map. Like, at least Chapter 2 had some memorable locations and stuff, at least in my personal opinion. Chapter 3 really did not have that. I think the battle pass for Chapter 3 Season 1, I'm actually like blanking on the skins. Let me look it up. I know Spider-Man was in there. I know the Foundation was in there. But I'm not really sure what other skins were in the past. Okay. Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's fine. It's whatever. It's not the worst battle pass we've got. It's not the best either. Yeah. But yeah. Okay, so the battle pass is it's whatever, it's average. What else? What else did this add? It added the Spider-Man web slingers, which is fun. It added like the Daily Bugle inside the volcano. And I don't know why they put it inside the volcano, considering the volcano never turned back into a volcano over the course of the whole chapter. It's pretty funny like that. Yeah, but I think the fact that I can't remember anything about this season is telling of like how bad it is, right? What happened in Chapter 3 Season 1? I gotta look this up. I was able to like do the rest from like memory, but I don't know anything about this season. Okay, it added the Clombos. I remember that, but I didn't like the Clombos, so whatever. Okay. Okay, let's see. Okay, so many ads. Something, something. Okay. Yeah, I don't think it's going to give us... I think we have to go down for like a proper gameplay here. Yeah, there's not much story, but I'm not going to expect a lot of story from, the season ones of seasons. I don't even know what happened in this season. I think it was just like the paradigm coming back and the IO drilling back up. It was mostly just a setup to Chapter 3 Season 2. Okay. We got sliding this season. Okay, that was the mechanic. I was gonna say that like Chapter 2 introduced like a bunch of mechanics like swimming and stuff. But Chapter 3 included mechanics like of movement. I think we got sprinting this season. We got no, I don't think sprinting was in the game yet. No, it's not in the game this season, but sliding was. Yes. Okay, yeah. And it used Unreal Engine 5, which made the game more beautiful, I think. Sliding allowed you to move faster on steeper areas. This was a cool addition, and it kind of led to the other movement additions later on in the chapter. Oh, and added the lumber pines, right? That was a really fun addition to the game. Where like you could shoot down a tree and the tree would actually fall and like move around as a log and like damage people. That was pretty fun. But yeah, it wasn't as bombastic as Chapter 2 Season 1. I think Chapter 3 Season 1, like once again, we have to give it like somewhat leniency because it was the first season of a chapter. It was basically more of a promise of what was to come rather than trying to be like its own like special event. However, I think of all like the chapter introductions, this is not that good. I think it gets an upper C tier. I think it's better than Chapter 2 Season 8, just on like basis of simplicity and like being more innovative and not being as like, cluttered as Chapter 2 Season 8. But Chapter 3 Season 1, I think, it was a nice simple addition to the game. It was like a nice refresh again, but it didn't add as much, and like arguably we're going to get to like the season that did add a lot. and that is Chapter 3, Season 2. Now, this is by and far the best season of Chapter 3, in my opinion. This season added Zero Build, which completely changed the game for Fortnite fans. Yeah, like this Zero Build, like single handedly brought like Fortnite back into like popularity, where like people actually started playing the game again. Like people who quit the game back in Chapter 1 because like there was too much building and stuff. There were so many people who came back to this game. Like I will tell you like a personal story, right? Most of my friends in real life, they stopped playing Fortnite back in Chapter 1, right? Right? Like they had the skins and stuff, but they stopped playing because it was too much building and they started playing other video games. For the entirety of like, late Chapter 1 and all of Chapter 2, for like those several years, I was playing the game by myself, right? No friends, right? No, like in life friends. I wasn't playing, you know, like squads on like voice calls and stuff, right? I was just playing by myself. But then Chapter 3, Season 2, it was this chapter where like it was this season where like my friends actually started getting back into the game and we started playing with each other and it became more social for me again. This was an excellent chapter. It added Zero Build once again, which completely changed the game. It brought so many people back. It added more movement options. It The movement options were really fun. It added sprinting. It added like higher jumps and like parkour almost. It added mantling, and this made the game so much faster, like so much better to maneuver through and stuff. Yeah, you know, Zero Build is good because it's an option. I think like if Fortnite just removed building in Chapter 3 Season 2, then it would get worse. But the fact that it gave you like a proper permanent option for Zero Build. I think like I guess like yeah, they did remove it from the core game modes for like the first like couple weeks of Chapter 3 Season 2, but after that like it just became like its own game mode and it's still its own permanent game mode to this day. So like that's a good thing. And it added like tanks, which were a really fun addition. Yeah, tanks were super fun. Those were like what those are probably like my favorite vehicles in Fortnite history ever. The tanks. Um, but yeah, Chapter 3 Season 2, a surprisingly very good chapter in comparison to like what's around it. Although I forgot the battle pass. I think this was the battle pass like a bunch of like 7 skins, right? Like it had like 2 of them in there, and it had like the Prowler, and it had like some other skins. Let's look it up. Okay. This is not the Chapter 3 Season 2 Battle Pass. I don't know what this is. Okay, yeah. It's a pretty good Battle Pass. Like, Suki 2.0 was fun. Gunner was fun. Doctor Strange is the Tier 100. We're getting really tired of Tier 100 skins being collabs. But yeah. Chapter 3 Season 2. Very good season. It added the mechanics that should have been there at the beginning of Chapter 3. Um, yeah, I don't think it's as good as Primal. Nah, it's better. The vehicles are much better. It's low A tier. You know what? It's slowly climbing up. I think it goes up here in A tier, in my opinion. Um, yeah, like this is just really fun. It was a really fun season. It added like so many staples to the game, right? Like Zero Build, climbing, mantling, like ascenders and stuff. Like just for that, I think it deserves A tier and goes above these two. Collision event. Yes, the only good event of Chapter 2. Um, yeah, it wasn't like that good. Okay, yeah, you were able to pilot the mech and like shoot down stuff, and that was fun. And like the whole Doctor Sloan part at the end where you're going around I guess the 0 point, right? And then like Doctor Sloan shows up in a tank and just gets like absolutely destroyed by a mecha team leader crushing her under the arm. That was fun. Like obviously we know with Chapter 4, Season 3 that she's back, but like I never assumed that she was dead in the first place. Like this is a series where like death is quite literally as part of the game, not permanent. Like it's either her being back after surviving or it's like a snapshot of her or something, which is the same thing basically. But yeah, collision event was super fun. not as not one of the best live events in my opinion, like compared to the chapter 1 live events and even the chapter 2 live events. But yeah, Collision was pretty good, especially compared to the next live event we're going to talk about in season 4, which I have a lot to say about. But yeah, adding zero build and like adding those new mechanics definitely brings chapter 3 season 2 up. Chapter 3 season 3, very forgettable season. I think the whole theme of like vibing and like being a more chill season and stuff was is pretty fun. I think like they knew that like, okay, well, we don't really care about the season. This is just a season to relax and stuff. But yeah, I don't remember much that they added. I know that they re-added like ballers and stuff this season. The battle pass was pretty good this season. I will give it that. Okay, wait, why am I doing this? I think like all the skins were pretty fun. Darth Vader as a tier 100. Once again, nobody wants that. I mean, okay, I don't want that. People wanted that. Okay, yeah. Here's the battle pass. Oh my god, that's not the battle pass. Here's the battle pass. Okay, yeah, I think the battle pass was like actually pretty good this season. Indiana Jones is a secret skin. Once again, like I'm not really sure why they did this. It might be that like the Indiana Jones like movie, like the Dial of Destiny, was supposed to come out when this season came out, but like it got delayed or something. Maybe that was it. But yeah, I think the battle pass was pretty good. What things did it add? Okay. Yeah, it was the reality tree. Okay, it added like those blossoms, right? That you could like plant, and then you would come back every game and you'd see them grow and stuff, and like it would give you weapons and stuff like every game nonstop. That was interesting. I didn't really use it a lot, but it was interesting. The reality tree was an okay location. It wasn't the best. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think like the aesthetic of the season was pretty fun, but I think the season itself was pretty underwhelming. Yeah, let's take a look. Yeah, it didn't seem like a lot happened this season, and I think they knew that. But yeah, I think like later on in the season we got like Dragon Ball Z, not Dragon Ball Z, but just Dragon Ball content, like with the challenges and like the skins and stuff. That was fine. That was fine. It was a good addition. No Sweat Summer. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Was it a was Storm Sickness added in this season? I did not know that. Two shot shotgun. DMR. DMR was added. Hammer assault rifle was super fun. Two shot shotgun was also kind of fun. Yeah. That's all. Yeah, this was a very yeah. Like, there's a reason why I didn't remember anything about this season, and that's because it was very underwhelming. Not underwhelming. We didn't expect much from this season. We didn't get much. I can't blame it for that. Where does this go though? Probably worse than Chapter 3 Season 1. Is it worse than Chapter 3 Season 1? I think it was more fun to play than Chapter 3 Season 1. I am not sure. Okay. Where does this go? I feel like this tier list is kind of heavy on the top, but that just goes to show how good most Fortnite seasons are. But I think this has to get mid C tier here. I don't think there's a lot. And now we have Paradise, Chapter 2, Season 4, the infamous Brie Larson Paradigm season. Yeah, this was a very unfortunate season, especially for one that ended off the chapter. Of course, there's that like theory that they had to cut the chapter short because they wanted to create the new map to better fit like a permanent zero build mode. But wow, Paradise was just like so disappointing. Like at least in like the past like couple chapters, I guess no, in chapter 2, like the big bad threat of like the whole season that led up to the end event, Like that was foreshadowed for like 2 seasons. This season had like the nothing or something, right? Which is just another faction of Last Reality, and they just came out of nowhere. Yeah, the whole Chrome gimmick of like turning into Chrome and passing through walls. Passing through walls was cool, and okay, I will say that the Chrome thing was fun. Uh, yeah, the Chrome part of it was fun. However, it was just underwhelming. The map looked really ugly with all of it covered in Chrome. Uh, but the biggest offender here was the live event. This live event was legitimately probably the worst story live event ever. Like it was a like I don't even know what they were thinking with this. Um, yeah, the like it was like two like a minute of like a cutscene, right? And that cutscene should have been like the actual live event, where like you would like be at the reality tree, and then you like you'd slowly like fight back against like the herald coming closer to you, right? And that would be a fun live event, right? If they especially if they played that part up, but they just turned it into like a minute long like trailer almost. And then the actual live event was like a bunch of mini games where you just go on like fetch quests across like this broken up island in like space, right? And you'd like slowly bring the island back together. And I will say like that on itself is not that bad. That by itself is not that bad. But the thing is that as a chapter ending live event, it's like unacceptable. And the thing is that like if it was possible for them, they could have had like that mini game portion be like activities you do during downtime. I think that would be a perfect way. Maybe like release teasers as part of rewards for doing the mini games and stuff. That would be excellent as like a downtime activity, kind of like how the chapter 1 live event had like the whole like pizza mini game. But I'm not sure if like that would be possible with the chapter 4 live event, or chapter 3 end event. But yeah, I mean, like the thing is that even with the event, there was like scrapped cut material that like showed that like the whole alien mothership from season 7, chapter 2 season 7 would come back and stuff like that, but like they just decided not to put that in here, so it just became underwhelming. And then after like like 20 to 30 minutes of doing mini games, you get another underwhelming cutscene where like the paradigm just like brings everything back together and like supposedly sacrifices herself, but like we don't really know how. Just like a completely underwhelming, a completely bad live event. Um, yeah, I think like this live event just felt like more of a test for like creative Fortnite creative games and stuff, or like Unreal Engine for Fortnite. But yeah, they could have done that sometime else. Like the live event for this season was just terrible, and everything else in the season was underwhelming. Oh wow, I think this gets a D tier honestly from me. I wasn't expecting to put another season in D tier, but yeah, this is not a good season. Like I don't know, I feel like it might be better than Chapter 1 Season 6, but it's been a while since I played Chapter 1 Season 6, so it's probably better than I remember it as. Yeah, yeah, like this whole chapter 2, the end of chapter 3 was really when like I just stopped giving a crap about the story, which is unfortunate because like for me, for my channel, I'm known as like, oh, the guy who talked about the Fortnite storyline and stuff, which is fine, which is fun, right? Because especially back then in the early days of chapter 1 and even chapter 2 to an extent, the story was a lot of like fun like creative writing where you're piecing your own stuff together. But when they actually started making like a story that you could just follow through like Marvel and DC comic books and stuff like that, that's when you just realize like, oh, this whole thing is just an ad, and it really was just a way for like stuff. I'm sorry, I'm not that good at speaking live, but it really was just a way of stringing seasons together and getting like as many collabs as possible and stuff. Which is why I just stopped caring about the story, because like why would I care about the story when Epic probably doesn't themselves. So yeah, unless if they get like really serious about the story, and I'm talking about really serious in that no collab, like actual proper story, like back in chapter 1 and chapter 2 season 2, right? I'm probably won't give a crap about the story ever again. Okay, but yeah, disappointing end to chapter 3. But yeah, looks like everybody else is like kind of agreeing. uh Donald Mustard sadly can't write well. Yeah, Donald Mustard's writing could be better. Like, I understand that the limitations of, writing a story for a battle royale game where there shouldn't be any story to begin with. But like, he could do it better. And it's clear that like I don't blame him for this because like it's probably what he wanted from the beginning. But it's clear that Fortnite's just a way for him to get as many collaborations together as possible to make like, the ultimate collab game that like many of us actually dreamed about as children. Like a lot of us as children would play with our toys where we had like Darth Vader fighting Spider-Man and stuff. And Fortnite's actually a video game where that can happen. Like you can have like Spider-Man with his web slinger mythics fight against Darth Vader with his lightsaber, and that's pretty cool in and of itself. But the thing is that that doesn't lend itself well to a a proper serious story, which is and Fortnite's not going for a proper serious story, which is why I'm not going to cover it anymore. I'm not mad at them. It's just why would I waste time covering a story that's basically just a 5-year-old writing you know fake storylines to play with his different toys, right? Yeah, a lot of people are agreeing here. Mm-hmm. I don't dislike Donald Mustard, but the story just comes across as Marvel fan fiction. The seven are just yeah. Uh, it's very much like just feels like Fortnite just feels like it's being written by the same people who did like Marvel, right? The seven does feel like it is just Fortnite's Avengers and stuff, right? I think like even the Chapter 2 Season 6 solo event that was like directed by the the Russo brothers, who I think outside of Marvel don't really have anything. Like they have the Gray Man, which was an awful movie, but yeah, and yeah, it really does feel like the dialogue feels very Marvel like, where there's a lot of quipping and there's really no stakes and stuff like that. It also feels very J.J. Abrams like, with like the whole mystery box aspect of it too, and the whole situation is just bad. You know, I think what we have to take out from all this is that like you probably should not care about Fortnite's story anymore. It was onto something interesting back in Chapter 1 and even Chapter 2 to an extent. Like even with the Chapter 2 Season 8 live event, right? Like we had Dwayne Johnson then, but even then it wasn't that terrible. There was something interesting going on with like IO and all that, even with all the dumb comic books and stuff. But yeah, that Moxie, thank you. You said the excellent thing. Everything went from being mysterious and exciting to predictable and lazy. And yes, ultimately, as the stories has continuing to, sorry, as the story continues to be written, like of course you're gonna unveil mysteries and stuff. But the thing is that like it just unveiled in like the worst ways possible. Yeah, like I have a whole video about like why I don't like the Fortnite storyline anymore and stuff. So you should probably go ahead and like watch that. But um, you know, it's just that they butchered the storyline so hard, and I struggle to use the word butchered because like it's probably the fact that like they never intended to have a good story in the first place, which is just so disappointing because they could have a really cool story here, like a story in a battle royale season based game could be like something that we didn't know before. But like they're chasing the money with collaborations, which is fine because like most people don't care. Like if you're like a person like me, I care about the original Fortnite storyline, right? However, like most other people outside the community and even like in the community who are like more casual players, they love seeing the collaborations. The game with like million like hundreds of collaborations is super cool for them, but it doesn't lend itself well to a story, which is bad for like our side of the community who actually likes the original story, right? Like you could like that's why I like follow like a bunch of like artists and stuff who like kind of make like their own storylines. Like Newscape Pro, for all their flaws, they make their own storyline based on like the season and stuff. They include collab characters and stuff. It might be written poorly, but they make their own storyline. But yeah, like I said, like everything turned from like cool and mysterious to just like, oh, it's just Marvel 2.0 and with a cameo from like a random superhero character or something like that. But yeah, a storyline reset. if I may, yeah, like arguably, like there is a case to be made for like making your own story for Fortnite, considering all these seasons and just like writing out all the collaboration characters, right? That would be really fun. Um, but like that's not like what the official thing is. Like it would be a fun fan fiction, but not like an actual, proper storyline thing. Yeah, storyline reset. That's not gonna happen. Like it's gonna happen. There's a chance for it to happen like a couple years down the line. It doesn't seem like it's gonna happen now, especially with like Doctor Sloan coming back, because the whole Chapter Four storyline has been kind of disconnected from the previous chapters. But I think with Doctor Sloan coming back, we're gonna see a lot of old characters return. But yeah, okay. Well, with that whole side rant over, let's move on to Chapter 4, Season 1, another chapter introduction. What did this chapter add? Well, let's see. The new map was something unique and something we really didn't see before. Like the whole hodgepodge of like different biomes and stuff. It's not really an old classic Fortnite map. It feels like something new, which I enjoy. Is my mic still quiet? I am going to uh, increase my mic volume. Is that better? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Of course, Moxie did add hammers, but I'm asking like what proper mechanics did it add that will stay for the rest of the game? Like season chapter 3 added zero build and movement. Chapter 2 added like and the interacting with the environment like swimming, fishing, and like hiding in places. And chapter 1 just added the whole game, right? So what did chapter 4 add? I don't think it added a lot. I think at this game, at this point, Fortnite's still at like its point where it doesn't need to innovate anymore. That's probably because chapter 3 is has been so short. Like chapter 4 season 1 just seems like an extension of like chapter 3's mechanics, right? Like there's no reason to add anything because there wasn't meant for anything to be added at this point. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I'm just like speaking gibberish right now. I'm not used to like speaking live, unscripted this much. But yeah, I don't think like mechanically this chapter added too much. Okay, no, I am so sorry. I'm mistaken. It added augments. Augments are the thing that this chapter added that's going to stay for the rest of the game, right? So like the augment system I really like. It makes the game like so much more fun and unique. It gives you like special perks and power-ups, and it makes like each match of battle royale different because you can get different augments. And the cool thing is that like especially if you're like squads or something, you could you can like kind of pick and choose your augments, and that affects how you play that game. Like you can like normally somebody wouldn't pick up a pistol, right? But suppose if I got the augment that gave me the exotic pistol, it gave me the pistol reload, and it gave me like the light weapon power up, then I'm gonna run a pistol loadout. It really changes the way you actually like strategize in the game, and it can save your ass sometimes too with like some of the chug splash icons and stuff. As the augments are also continuously changing, they're being removed. There's new ones being added that are bringing back older weapons and stuff. Like the augments are an excellent system to be added to the game. That is a huge positive for Chapter 4 Season 1. We can barely hear you. I am right next to the mic. I am not sure why you guys can't hear me, especially since I'm speaking pretty loud too. But, okay, augments, good addition. That's where we're at. I guess it added hurdling too, but that's just more mantling stuff. And I think hurdling was also just like removed for most of Chapter 4 Season 1 anyway. So it was barely even added. Thematically, I'm not really sure what the season was going for. I guess it was more like a medieval, like this weird like medieval season almost. Ageless was a really good tier 100 skin. We really needed like this proper like good tier 100 skin. That's like original to the game. It feels like a chapter 1 tier 100 skin. That's what I'm trying to say, right? And Ageless was done really well, and I'm glad that the whole trend of tier 100 skins is staying strong even into the next season. But yeah, augments are good. Um, what else? What else do we have? Dirt bikes were fine. The hammer was like the standout weapon of the season. The hammer is was fun to use. You could launch yourself across like long distances, and it was kind of overpowered because like you just like hit somebody. Sorry, you could like just hit somebody for massive damage and launch them way off into the distance. Um, but yeah, that was fun. The hammers were fun. That beat a bit overpowered, but I think everybody knew that they were going to be there only for that season. So it was fun to use. I think there was like that eagle thing too, like the robot birds that you could use to like scan locations and like learn where chests are, where enemies are. You could even like pick up like items and even like other people and bring them back to you, which was a fun utility. It was a fun utility item. Um, cool addition to the game overall. I don't think it was too negative. Uh, yeah, and what else? What else do we got? Um, I think this season also had like a Dragon Ball and a Naruto collab at the same time, and or no, not or was it My Hero Academia? It had like multiple anime collaborations, so that I think it was a Dragon Ball and Naruto, right? Dragon Ball and no, sorry, Dragon Ball and My Hero Academia were in the game at the same time. So that resulted in like so many mythic weapons in the game, and like everybody was just using those mythics all the time, and it was like complete chaos, right? Uh, yeah. So that was I think that was a negative of the season. Like just how many collaborations really felt cluttered. Even and this is something that continues in chapter 4, season 2. Collaborations felt cluttered. Although like collaborations themselves weren't as dominant as like chapter 4 season 4 or chapter 2 season 4, chapter 2 season 5, but like the items in the game felt very cluttered. Yeah, and I think that's really it for chapter 4 season 1. Just a very bare bones season, but adding augments to the game was super fun. Capturing locations, I think that was also something out of this game, where like you could stand at a location, right? You could stand at a location and it like at a specific flag, and once you capture the flag, you get like weapons and like loot, and like could also see all the chests and the other people in the location. So yeah, that was pretty fun. That's also a nice addition to the game. Not as game breaking, I think, or like game changing as augments, but still a fun addition, I guess. It's used a lot, right? You know, because like when you loot a location, you'll see somebody. Sorry, when you loot a location, like there's a lot of like downtime in like the beginning of the game, and if you have time, if you're the only one there, you can loot a location and then stand and capture it and get those extra weapons and stuff, which is fun. So chapter 4 season 1 added augments, which is super good for the game, so it gets points for that. But other than that, I think probably it's better than chapter 3 season 1, so it's not the weakest chapter introduction season. But I think with the Deku collabs and stuff, it's definitely above season 9, definitely above chapter 3 season 3. I think it goes around here in B tier. Um, Not the best, but not the worst. I think it was just a very average season. And here we are, last season, until tomorrow, I guess, where we get chapter 4 season 3. This is chapter 4 season 2, and it's very similar to chapter 1 season 9, where it's like a cyberpunk themed season that just kind of fell flat. However, it was much better than chapter 1 season 9. However, I think like Mega City, which was kind of like the center of all the promotional material, like this huge cyberpunk city, really was not that fun. Like most of the buildings were just like empty husks, right? All it was all just like dressing up like this, basically just this city of like gray empty blocks, right? Didn't feel like a city like Tilted, where there was like a bunch of interiors for people to fight around in, right? It just felt like very empty as like a location. However, the other locations that it added, like the old-fashioned Japanese like castles and like towns and stuff, I really like those locations, especially like the castles. Like those locations were super fun to play at. Like those were actually pretty good additions, even though they weren't the main priority of the season. Like the hot springs were a fun addition. the katana was just like the hammer, but like kind of better. I think it was way more balanced, even though it was a bit less powered. But yeah, the katana was super fun to use. I'm so sad that they removed it like a couple weeks ago or something. But yeah, the katana was a good addition. The battle pass was pretty good. I liked it. Attack on Titan collab. If this Attack on Titan collab happened like 3 years ago, I would have been so hyped for it. But after I left the Attack on Titan community like 3 years ago, it wasn't as hype, but it was still pretty fun to see it in the game. Caches. Yeah. Caches, I barely play like the main game mode, so I never really like used them. I think they were fine. Grind rails were super fun. They were a fun addition. The new cars and bikes were unfortunately underwhelming. The fact that you couldn't really drive them off-road wasn't that good. Yeah. Which season added the keys? I forgot. Like the keys and like the lock chests and stuff. Was that Chapter 4 Season 1 or was it before that? Because it definitely wasn't this season, I think. I think it was Chapter 4 Season 1 that added that, which, keeps it the same. Oh, it's Chapter 3 Season 4 that added the keys. I did not know that. Still stays down here, though. Yeah, can't save that. That's not enough to save the season. Grind rails were super fun. That was like the only good part of Mega City, like all the grind rails you can jump around on. And them adding more grind rails to various locations was fun. It was a really good mechanic. I think like somebody said way back when we were covering Chapter 1 Season 9, if grind rails were there instead of, I think, what is it called, slipstreams in Chapter 1 Season 9, that season would have gone much better. And yeah, grind rails are just like kind of better slipstreams in my opinion. Not as fast, but much more balanced. You can't really third-party people as easy. Yeah. Loot Island. Yes, there was like a loot island that would spawn in like the middle of the map, like halfway through the game or something, and you get like super OP loot there. That was super fun. Like I landed there once with my friends, like in the mid game, because like we were convinced nobody else was going there, and we got like OP loot that won us the game. It's super fun. Yeah, I think this season also had like a massive Star Wars collab in it, too, which is unfortunate because it overshadowed the Attack on Titan collab. I will say for like the season's like headliner collab with Attack on Titan at the beginning of the season, the Attack on Titan collab was very, I guess, kind of underwhelming. Like none of the skins had styles except for like cape on and cape off. And, like the ODM gear was just like bad Spider-Man mythic. And the Thunder Spears were actually kind of fine. But yeah, like everybody stopped caring about it when like the Star Wars collab came out later, which is unfortunate. So yeah, Chapter 4 Season 2, probably, I don't know, is it better than Chapter 4 Season 1 is the question. Probably yes. I think the augments were also like more unique this season too. I think it goes like just above Chapter 4 Season 1, like right there. All right. Hello, Mason. Glad you could join us for like the end of the Fortnite season tier list. So this is a tier list we have for all of the Fortnite chapters and seasons up until tomorrow when we get Chapter 4 Season 3. And here we have all of the things in orders. Not part of the tier list, but what were your first impressions of the new season? Honestly, I'm not too excited about it. I was more excited for the last season, like the current season, I guess, when that came out. Because, I thought like the cyberpunk theme was going to be cool. However, the jungle theme doesn't really stand out to me. I saw the trailer, and like the trailer seemed kind of underwhelming too. It just feels like there's nothing new that they're adding. Like the biome might be interesting, but like, I think it revolving around Transformers is an interesting choice to say the least. The vines just seem like they're going to be grind railed, but like reskinned. Why do you think Epic stopped doing live events? They did not stop doing live events, I believe. I think like just today, like there was like a leak saying that they're working on the Chapter 4 end event, which doesn't mean it's happening soon, right? It just means that they're working on it, which is a good thing, because if they're working on it now, it means that it's not going to be as disappointing as the Chapter 3 end event. But yeah, I feel like everything we saw right now was just like window dressing for the next season. Like once I actually see how the gameplay is next season, if the gameplay is good, then I'll probably like the next season, regardless of like the theming and stuff. The battle pass seems super underwhelming though. It doesn't seem that good, especially if Optimus is a tier 100 skin. Then they had such a good streak with the tier 100 skins this season. Like the chapter 4 season 2 battle pass was super fun. That was a super fun tier 100 skin. Super fun battle pass overall. But unfortunately, it doesn't seem like Chapter 4 Season 3 is going to carry that momentum. Yeah. Okay, so this is it. So at the top, the best season with almost unanimous agreement is Chapter 2 Season 2. Definitely deserves it. Next up, we have the unexpected runner-up, Chapter 1 Season 8. Then Chapter 2 Season 5, Chapter 1 Season 5. Unique lineup here, but like these were all great seasons. At the top of A tier, we have Chapter 1 Season X. Very chaotic, but very fun. Next is Chapter 1 Season 4. This is like the peak of OG Fortnite. Chapter 2 Season 1. It's up here because it was a very nice, consistent season. A nice breath of fresh air after the craziness of late Chapter 1. And it added a bunch of new mechanics like interacting with the environment. Same thing can be said almost for Chapter 3 Season 2. This is basically what Chapter 3 Season 1 should have been. Adding tanks was fun, and adding the new mechanics like mantling and climbing and stuff like that, sprinting, really changed the game. And of course, it added zero build, which is like a complete game changer. It brought so much fame and popularity back into Fortnite. Next up is Chapter 1 Season 3, which of course is a fun event. Not an event. It's a fun season. It was like good old OG Fortnite. Good time to be a Fortnite fan. And then at the bottom of this tier, we have Chapter 1 Season 7. I don't think this actually deserves to be here. No, this is not better. Okay. Hold up. Chapter 6, Season 6 goes into A tier. And I will say this gets dropped to here. Yeah, big drop for Chapter 1 Season 7. But yeah, okay. So next up, after Chapter 1 Season 3, we have Chapter 2 Season 6. Very controversial season. A lot of people don't like this one. However, I do like the uniqueness of the season. I like the crafting mechanics, even though like stuff like the Hunter's Cloak was kind of useless. I think crafting was a fun mechanic. It was very unique, stands out amongst all the other Fortnite seasons in a good way. Next up, headlining the B tier, we have Chapter 2 Season 7. This is a fun season. I like the mechanics of the whole UFO abduction areas. That was fun. Live event was super good. It's a very close between Chapter 2 Season 6, Chapter 2 Season 7, but I think it's like my personal preference, and I just didn't like Chapter 2 Season 7 a lot gameplay-wise. Next up, we have Chapter 4 Season 2, the current season, and this one was fun. The guns and meta was super fun. The katana was a more balanced version of the hammer. However, it was kind of underwhelming with the promise of more of a cyberpunky season theme. However, even with Mega City being an underwhelming location, there were other locations that were added that were super good, and overall a very solid season. Next up, we have Chapter 4 Season 1, and once again, this season is a chapter introduction. It added augments, which probably justifies its location here. So yeah, that's fun. The Shockwave Hammer was fun. The Battle Pass was good. Solid overall. Next up is Chapter 1 Season 7. This was an okay season. Like, it's almost right in the middle of the pack, basically. Almost smack dab in the middle of the tier list. But yeah, nice theme, nice Battle Pass. Just not that memorable, really. Next up is Chapter 2 Season 3. It was very fun in the beginning with like the flooded map, the fact that most of it was water, and it added cars and fire too, so that gave it a bump in the ratings. However, unfortunately, once the water receded, there was really nothing special about this season. Next up is Chapter 1 Season 9. Once again, like Chapter 4 Season 2, had the promise of being a really cool cyberpunk themed season. However, it was just underwhelming in almost every single aspect except for its live event. Next up is Chapter 2, Season 2, and Chapter 2, not Chapter 2, Season 2. Chapter 1, Season 2, and Chapter 1, Season 1, which are around this area for the same reason. Where that, they were the beginning. We can't really fault them. They were nice old OG days. And for being so bare bones, they were still quite fun. And they laid the foundations of the entire game to come. Okay, next up in the C tier, we have Chapter 3, Season 1. A very underwhelming start to a chapter, especially compared to the previous 2 chapter starts. It added sliding, and that was really it. And the new map was kind of not that memorable. Below that, we have Chapter 3, Season 3. Just like the poster child for unmemorable seasons. Really nothing happened this season. Next up is Chapter 2, Season 8. While it has a very good live event, I think the rest of the chapter was just disappointing, and it wasn't even that good because it was very cluttered. The map was very ugly. There was a lot of promise explicitly given to us with this season, and it just underdelivered. And finally, at the bottom of the C tier, we have Chapter 1, Season 6. Compared to Chapter 1, Season 5, and even Chapter 1, Season 7, just not a good season. Not many map changes. The gimmicks were not good. Fortnite for the last half of the season just ruined the game completely by adding zombies and stuff. Not good. And then we have the bottom of the bottom, the D tier, unfortunately. We have here Chapter 3, Season 4, Paradise. Unfortunately, just a terrible season overall. The whole controversy with Brie Larson as Paradigm was an unfortunate beginning to the season. And it just got worse from there. The Chrome was a fun gimmick, but not something to hold a whole season on. And it also really didn't. The Chrome also made the map look super ugly. A lot of the map was super duper ugly this season. And there was really nothing memorable this season at all. And the live event was just completely atrocious. For a chapter-ending event, this live event was unacceptable, downright unacceptable. This was unacceptable for Epic to do. And finally, the bottom of the bottom, we've got Chapter 2, Season 4. Turns out when you make your whole season an ad for Marvel and focus on nothing else, there are some people who won't like it, like me. Non-Marvel fans were very alienated by this season. Had some fun aspects, was not enough to save it. And that right there is the Fortnite season tier list from Chapter 1, Season 1 to Chapter 4, Season 2. Thank you guys for those in the Twitch stream, or not Twitch stream, this is a YouTube stream. Thank you for those in the YouTube stream for helping me out with this. Thank you for keeping me company while doing this. This was completely off the cuff, completely unscripted. So, of course, I am a bit stuttering here because I'm not used to talking live, but I think we did a pretty good job explaining why each season belongs where it is. So yeah, here it is. And if I do end up uploading this to YouTube as its own video, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.